Today's lecture is Euler's generalization of Fermat's theorem. This is in the chapter 7 of the book. So first definition is about Euler's phi function. This is a number theoretic function and the function is also known as indicator function or a totient function. So how we define this function? Phi n is the number of positive integers less than n and relatively prime to n. So if n is greater than or equal to 1, then phi n function is denoted by this notation phi n and defined like this. For example, if n is 30, then what is phi 30? So let us see what are the positive integers less than 30 and relatively prime to 30. So those numbers are 1, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23 and 29. Now these numbers are total 8. So phi 30 is 8. Note that phi n is n minus 1 if and only if n is prime. Now, formula for phi function. How we calculate its value if some number n is given. So this result says that if p is a prime number and k is greater than 0, then phi of p to the power k, if the number is given in power of prime form, phi of p to the power k is p to the power k minus p to the power k minus 1, or it can also be written as p to the power k. If we take p to the power k common in both of them, then we get this p to the power k into 1 minus 1 upon p. This formula is very useful in calculating the value of phi. Let us see how to prove this result. So we want value of phi p to the power k. N is p to the power k. So what is phi n? Phi n is the positive integers less than n and relatively prime to n. So we want all the integers which are less than p to the power k and relatively prime to p to the power k. So what we are going to see in this result, that we will be taking positive integers which are not relatively prime to p to the power k. Then from all the numbers we will just eliminate those numbers and result will go like this. Let us see how we are proving it. So we want values of n which are relatively prime to p to the power k and less than p to the power k. And we know that GCD of n and p to the power k is 1 if and only if p divides n. Let us write positive integers between 1 and p to the power k that are divisible by p. So here n and p to the power k are relatively prime if and only if p divides n. We are saying that let us collect all those numbers which are divisible by p, that is not relatively prime to p to the power k. So those numbers are p, 2p, 3p and so on to p to the power k minus 1 into p. Thus the set 1, 2, 3 up to p to the power k contains exactly how many numbers? टोटल में से हम क्या करेंगे, ये वाले नंबर्स हटा देंगे. सो दे आर p to the power k minus 1 in numbers. So from this p to the power k, p to the power k minus p to the power k minus 1, these integers. So these integers are relatively prime to p to the power k and we get the result. Next is this important result which we are going to use further. Given integers a, b and c such that GCD of a and b, c is 1, then we have this result. GCD of a and b, c is 1 if and only if GCD of a, b is 1 and GCD of a, c is 1. So we are going to use this result. Next is the function phi is a multiplicative function. We already know what is the definition of multiplicative function. Function phi is multiplicative. Phi of mn is phi m into phi n, where m and n are relatively prime. So phi is a multiplicative function. Now this important result says that if the integer n is greater than 1 has the prime factorization form, n is given in this form, then value of phi n is given by this. earlier we saw that if n is given in this form, p to the power k, then phi of p to the power k is this. Now we are saying that if n is in this form, product of power primes, then what is the value of phi n? This is given by this. Actually, this result is the generalization of previous result. So let us see how we prove it. So n is given this. Phi, we already know that phi is a multiplicative function. In earlier slide, I told you that phi is a multiplicative function. So if n is this, then what is phi n? Phi n is phi of this, and because phi is multiplicative, so phi of this is phi of p1 to the power k1 into phi of p2 to the power k2, and so on up to phi of pr to the power kr. Now by previous result, which we have already proved, this value is p1 to the power k1 minus p1 to the power k1 minus 1, and similarly we write all these values. Now take p1 to the power k1 common from here, p2 to the power k2 common from this bracket, and so on. Now let us write these numbers together, p1 to the power k1 into p2 to the power k2, and so on up to pr to the power kr. And these numbers, 1 minus 1 upon p1, 1 minus 1 upon p2, 1 minus 1 upon pr, write them this side. So what is this? This is your n. So n into 1 minus 1 upon p1, 1 minus 1 upon p2, 1 minus 1 upon pr. So we get our result. Let us see some examples. If your n is 1001 and we want to calculate the value of phi of n. So first let us write 1001 as the product of primes. So 1001 is 7 into 11 into 13. So what is value of phi of 1001? This is by the formula which we have derived. That is equal to n into 1 minus 1 upon this p1, 1 minus 1 upon p2, which is 11, 1 minus 1 upon p3, which is 13. So you get the result 720. Next is if n is 36,000. So let us write 36,000 as product of primes, powers of primes. So this is 2 to the power 5 into 3 square into 5 cube. So phi of 36,000 is given by this. We are again using the same formula. So the value comes out to be 9600. You can verify it. Next example is 360. Phi of 360. So what is 360 in product of prime form? This is given by 2 cube into 3 square into 5. So by the previous result, phi of 360 is 96. Next result says that for n greater than 2, phi n is an even integer. So phi n will be an even integer. So there are two options. First, n is a power of 2, and in second case we will take n is not a power of 2. So first suppose that n is a power of 2, that is n is equal to 2 to the power k, where k is greater than equal to 2. Then what is phi n? Phi n is phi of 2 to the power k. Then by using the formula which we have derived, this is equal to 2 to the power k into 1 minus 1 upon 2. So this is 2 to the power k minus 1, which is an even integer. Now suppose that n is not a power of 2. Then n is divisible by an odd prime p. If it is not a power of 2, then we can divide it by an odd number, odd prime p. So we can write n as p to the power k into m, where k is greater than equal to 1, and GCD of p to the power k and m is 1. They are relatively prime. So phi of n is phi of p to the power k into m, because phi is multiplicative, so we can use this. So this is equal to p to the power k minus 1 into p minus 1 into phi m, which is even, because 2 divides p minus 1. This. So this is even. Next, this question is uh, prove that if n has r distinct odd prime factors, then 2 to the power r divides phi n. Let n is given in this form, product of power of primes. phi n is this by the formula. Now, because each pi is odd, so we can write pi in this form: 2si plus 1 for some si. Therefore, phi n is this, phi n is this. So this is equal to 2 to the power r in 2 into 2 into 2. This is r times. So this is 2 to the power r into all these things, into s1 into s2 into sr. So phi n is equal to 2 to the power r into this. So what does this imply? This implies that 2 to the power r divides phi n. Next, we are going to see a lemma. So this lemma says that if n is greater than 1 and a and n are relatively prime, if a1, a2, a phi n are the positive integers less than n and relatively prime to n, then a1, a2, a phi n, these are congruent modulo n to a1, a2, a phi n. So let us see that AA1, AA2, AA phi n are incongruent modulo n. They are incongruent to each other. Let if possible, there some of two of these numbers are congruent to each other under modulo n. So let us take AAI and AAJ. They are congruent modulo j, where I is less than j and I and j are between 1 and phi n. So from here, a can be cancelled because GCD of A and N is 1, which is given to you. So we can cancel A. So we are left with AI congruent to AJ, which is impossible because these A1, A2, A phi n, they are incongruent. So we got a contradiction. That means A1, A2, A phi n, they are incongruent modulo n. Now, because GCD of AI and n is 1 for all I and GCD of A and n is 1. If we combine them, we get GCD of AAI, n is 1. This result we have seen earlier. Now, fix a particular AAI. There exists unique integer b such that AAI is congruent to b modulo n. Now, because GCD of b and n is equal to GCD of AAI and n, which is 1, therefore b must be one of the integers a1, a2, a phi n. Hence, the numbers aa1, aa2, aa phi n and the numbers a1, a2, a phi n are identical modulo n in certain order. Next theorem is Euler's theorem. It says that if n is greater than or equal to 1 and a and n are relatively prime, then a to the power phi n is congruent to 1 modulo n. This is very important theorem. It says that a to the power phi n is congruent to 1. Let us prove it. Let n is greater than 1 and let a1, a2, a phi n are the positive integers less than n and relatively prime to n. Now, because this GCD of A and N is 1, this is given. Therefore, by previous lemma, we know that A1, A1, A2, A phi n, they are congruent to A1, A2, A phi n in some order. Therefore, A1 is congruent to some A1 dash. A1 dash is some from these AIs, and A2 is congruent to some A2 dash. A phi n is congruent to some A phi n dash. So, where A1 dash, A2 dash, A phi n dash, these are integers from these in certain order. Now take product of these phi n confluences. So, because left hand side is congruent to right hand side in certain order, so if we take the product of these congruences, that product will be congruent. So A1, A2, A phi n, this product is congruent to this A1 dash, A2 dash, A phi n dash. Now, what are these AI dash? They are A1, A2, A phi n in certain order. So this product is equal to A1, A2, A phi n. So they take a to the power phi n common. We get a1 a2 a phi n. This is congruent to a1 a2 a phi n. Cancel a1 a2 a phi n. We get, you can cancel them because it is given that GCD of ai and n is given. Therefore, we can divide both the sides by a1 a2 a phi n. This implies that a to the power phi n is congruent to 1 modulo. Now we have a corollary to this theorem. It says that if p is a prime and p doesn't divide say, then a to the power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo n. Let us see application of Euler's theorem. Euler's theorem helps us in reducing the larger powers under modulo n. Let us see example. If we want to find last two digits in the decimal representation of 3 to the power 256, then how we are using Euler's theorem to calculate this power. So we have to find last two digits in the decimal representation of this number. So we have to find 3 to the power 256 modulo 100. So here a is equal to 3, this a is 3, n is 100, we take modulo n is 100, and we can check that GCD of a and n is 1 because we take a and n to be relatively prime. Now phi of 100, what is phi of 100? 100 is equal to 2 square into 5 square, so phi of 100 is equal to this by the known formula, so this comes out to be 40. Now by Euler's theorem, a to the power phi n is congruent to 1 modulo n, so 3 to the power 40 is congruent to 1 modulo 100, so we are going to use this. 3 to the power 40 is congruent to 1. Now by division algorithm, 256 can be written as this, 6 into 40 plus 16. So 3 to the power 256 is equal to 3 to the power 6 into 40 plus 16. So we can write 3 to the power 40 whole to the power 6 into 3 to the power 16. So we know that 3 to the power 40 is congruent to 1. Let us use it here. So we are left with 3 to the power 16. Now we can easily find 3 to the power 16 by repeated square. So 3 to the power 16 is 21. Hence 3 to the power 256 is congruent to 21 modulo 100. Now important feature of phi function. What is this? What is the sum of values of phi d as d ranges over the positive divisors of n? This is given by Gauss theorem. For each positive integer n greater than or equal to 1, n is given by summation phi d, where d ranges over the positive divisors of n. If we add all the values of phi d, where d is the divisor of n, then we get n. Let's prove it. So let us separate the integers between 1 and n into classes. How we divide them into classes? If d divides n, then we put the integer m in the class sd, provided GCD of m and n is d. So in symbols we can write sd is all those m such that GCD of m and n is d, where 1 less than equal to 1 less than equal to n. So GCD of m and n is d if and only if GCD of m by d n by d is 1. This is well known result. Thus the class SD, so from this result, what we can say about SD? The class SD cannot contain positive integers more than n by d, because we will be having then m by d less than equal to n by d more. That integers are relatively prime to n by d. That is, SD has total phi n by d, because we are saying that SD has less than n by d and relatively prime to n by d members. So SD has phi n by d members. Since each of the n integers in this set 1, 2, 3 and lies in exactly one class SD, therefore n is equal to summation phi n by d. But as d runs through the positive divisors of n, so does n by d. So we can say that n is equal to summation phi d, d divides n. Let us see an example. to understand what does we see in this theorem. N is 10, and then D is the positive divisors of 10, 1, 2, 5, 10. Then what is S1? S1 is all those numbers such that with GCD with N is 1, and the number should be less than equal to 10. So all those numbers are 1, 3, 7, 9. S2. In S2 we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Here GCD is 2. All these numbers, they have GCD with 10, S2. Now here in S5, this 5 with 10 has GCD 5. In S10, this 10 with N is equal to 10 has GCD 10. So we have S1, S2, S5, S10. Let us see the order of S1. How many numbers are there in S1? S1 has 4, S2 has 4, S5 has 1 member, S10 has 1 member. So this we can write as 5, 10, 4, 5, 10 is 4 actually, and 5, 5 is also 4. 5, 2 is 1, 5, 1 is 1. So summation 5D is 5, 10 plus 5, 5 plus 5, 2 plus 5, which is your N. N is 10. Let us see a simpler version of Gauss theorem, the proof of the Gauss theorem, another proof of Gauss theorem. So Gauss theorem, what was the Gauss theorem? It says that N is equal to summation phi d, d divides N. How we prove it? If N is equal to 1, then summation phi d, d divides 1 will be phi 1 only, and phi 1 is 1, 1 is equal to N. Next case, when N is greater than 1. If N is greater than 1, then we can write N as product of power of primes. Now consider the number theoretic function, this Fn. Fn is equal to summation phi d, d divides N. This number theoretic function we have studied in earlier class. Now since phi is multiplicative function, so by the theorem which we have proved earlier, if phi is multiplicative, then this capital F is also multiplicative. Therefore, f of n is f of p1 to the power k1 up to pr to the power kr. And we are saying that capital F is multiplicative, so we can write like this: f of p1 to the power k1, f of p2 to the power k2, f of pr to the power kr. So for each value of I, f of p I to the power ki is equal to summation phi d, d divides p to the p I to the power ki. Now what are the divisors of pi to the power ki? They are 1 pi square, pi to the power ki. Add them all. Now phi 1 is 1, phi pi is pi minus 1, phi pi square is pi square minus pi. Then write phi pi cube and so on up to pi to the power ki. So here all the terms will be cancelled except pi to the power ki. Therefore, f of n is equal to p1 to the power k1. Here we have solved only for one value of I. So if we take all, we will get fn is equal to p1 to the power k1, p2 to the power k2, pr to the power kr, which is your n. So n is summation phi d. So you can see that here we have proved Gauss theorem in a different way, and this is much easier. Now let us see another identity of the function phi n. It says that for n greater than 1, the sum of the positive integers less than n and relatively prime to n is given by 1 upon 2 n phi n. That is a1 plus a2 plus a phi n is given by 1 upon 2 n phi n. Now let us prove. A and n are relatively prime if and only if n minus a and n they are relatively prime. Therefore, n minus a1, n minus a2, n minus a phi n are equal to a1, a2, a phi n in certain order. So this implies that a1 plus a2 plus a phi n is equal to n minus a1 plus n minus a2 because they are congruent to each other. So we can add them and we get this. Here n plus n phi n times, so we get n into phi n, and minus, take minus common, then a1 plus a2 plus a phi n. So a1 plus a2 plus a phi n, take this bracket in the left hand side, we get 2 into a1 plus a2 plus a phi n is equal to n into phi n, and we get the result. Let us see an application of Mobius inversion formula. Now we are using Mobius inversion formula in finding the value of phi. So if n is a positive integer, then phi n is equal to n of summation n into summation mu d by d, where d divides n, d are the positive divisors of n. So fn is equal to n is equal to summation phi d, this number theoretic function. We know we defined it in the Gauss theorem. So apply inversion formula here. If fn is this, then inversion formula says that we can find value of phi in terms of mu and capital N. So by inversion formula, phi of n is equal to summation mu d f of n by d. You can see Mobius inversion formula in my previous lecture. So this is equal to summation mu d f of n by d is n by d. This is equal to n by d. N take outside, summation mu d by d.